I'm very delighted to open this seminar, which is being arranged with the Legislative Assembly by the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association. And I think it's a great initiative. It follows on from the election in September, which was observed by the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association and was judged to be a resounding success in terms of the organization, the way that the election was conducted, and the way it was counted and adjudicated. And yet again, I've said it before, I'd like to thank Sir Howard Fergus and the members of the Electoral Commission for conducting the election in such a wonderful way. So as a follow-up to that, the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association thought it would be a good idea, since again, in the light of the outstanding result of the election, which was a landslide victory for the PDM, which resulted in members of the PDM coming into Parliament without much previous parliamentary experience, it would be a good idea to hold a seminar like this. And I want to, although we're having a formal opening, I think this is an informal seminar, so I'm dispensing with the protocol arrangements, because if I went through all the protocol, given all the distinguished people here, I think it would take a very long time and I only have 5 minutes. So what I want to do is just thank the Premier, who's going to speak after me, for agreeing to have the seminar and to participate along with his colleagues here. To thank the guest speakers and contributors we have, who will speak for themselves and whose biography is in the programme handout, but particularly the Honourable Alexander Downey from the Isle of Man and the Honourable Cole Simmons from Bermuda, and thank them for all their work and their contribution to the seminar. And thanking in advance Chloe Mawson, who has experienced the problems we have with access to Montserrat, who arrived yesterday but without her luggage and presumably wants to look smart for the seminar, so will be coming shortly. But with that, having said all that, I'd like to officially open the seminar and invite the Premier to speak with his words of welcome. Thank you very much.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, this time I'm following the governor, who last time had to omit some of what I said. This time I have to omit much of what he said. But what I'll start by saying is a hearty welcome to our guests. I'm sure you're going to enjoy yourself, because Montserrat always welcomes our guests in special ways. The timing is perfect to empower a young, energetic, and ambitious government that has just come to power. I'm sure we'll be able to profit from the exposure to world-class best practice of legislatures in the Westminster parliamentary tradition in just a 2-day workshop. I recall how very helpful it was to me just 5.5 years ago when I first came into office in the opposition, and I attended the CPA conference in London. Out of that conference came the energy and drive to push for an opposition's office. Thanks to God, thanks to DFID, and thanks to the CPA who hosted us, Montserrat has the only opposition representative's office in all British overseas territories. So out of one session for me came great good for our people. Hopefully over the course of this government, I hope to help us plan to build a new parliamentary building just across the road here, which will hopefully have the facilities, the support and capabilities that modern democratic, people-based government require. As I reflect on the aims and sessions of the workshop, I'm sure that we'll find it quite valuable as we explore areas such as leadership and administrative functions of Parliament, parliamentary practices and procedures, especially law-abiding, lawmaking, scrutinizing the executive, ethics, standards, and best practice, roles and responsibilities of parliamentarians in ministry, backbench or opposition, work in the constituency, which I enjoyed a lot in London. Unfortunately, we're not going to go into the constituency here, political parties, non-parliamentary careers, and more. Also engagement with the public, media, and other stakeholders. Networking with parliamentarians across the world, and more, I'm quite sure. Please excuse me if I have to pop out now and then to attend to a few pressing matters. But I'm sure some of us look forward to the debate tomorrow, the mock debate over reforming our electoral system. Perhaps that can be a start to hosting topical debates in sittings of the Assembly, our Assembly, as is now a widespread practice in many places. And to be brief, as our governor was, let me once again officially welcome our visitors to our Emerald Isle of the Caribbean, Emerald Isle of the Caribbean. And I learned that my friend is Irish, so especially to you. And a very, very warm Montserrat welcome to you. Thank you.
Your Excellency, Premier, could I say colleagues in office, ladies and gentlemen, it's a great pleasure for me to be here in Montserrat to take part in this seminar. As the Premier said, I have Irish extraction. I'm a Manxman, really, and it's what you would call a bit of perhaps a mongrel breed. The Isle of Man boasts the oldest continuous parliament in the world. Our parliament was started by the Vikings, and we have the honour of having, as I say, the longest continuous parliamentary system in existence. But putting that aside, one of the things that we're trying to do in our seminar is to explain to the delegates and the participants that parliaments are constantly evolving. You know, we don't stand still in this business, neither do the problems around us stand still. And it's up to us to embrace some of the changes that may be coming. There's an awful lot of work being done now with scrutiny committees and trying to involve more members of Parliament in the way governments actually function. Now, my country, for want of a better word, we have two houses, an upper and a lower house, but we actually operate a thing called a tricameral parliament, whereas the lower house, the House of Keys, deals with the legislation. Then when that's been read a third time, it goes up to the upper house, which is called the Legislative Council. But then once a month, we hold our Tynwald meetings, which is a name given to the Parliament, and that's where all the main issues regarding policy and finance are discussed and voted on. So it's a bit of a hybrid, really, but it's one that works. And it works in two ways, because it gives the ministers an opportunity to opt out of certain things if there's a constituency issue or something like that. And it gives the rest of Tynwald Court opportunity to ask questions, to put motions down, and so on. And there are on occasions when what has been planned by government has actually been overturned by the majority of the House voting together. So it's an unusual model. I would just say that my baptism into Montserrat got off to a bit of a shaky start. I got bumped off the flight yesterday, so I had the good sense, having a nautical background, to find out where the ferry went from. And I had a nice ferry ride last night and a good night's sleep. I know that we tend to be a bit, I'll say laid back, but I don't really mean laid back. I think in the Caribbean you have a different approach to things, but I think it's very important over the next couple of days that everybody is on time, you know, and we can get through this program. because there's an awful lot of things to cover. And if I could just pre-warn you for tomorrow, when we have the communications section, it would be a good thing this evening when you go home just to sit down and put about 10-15 minutes into a paper covering a one-page speech, which you might use as some sort of a communications exercise. Little things like that. I'm hoping that during the sessions we're going to have open and frank discourse on things like Chatham House rules. This is not intended as an exercise by the CPA or the UK to tell you how to run Montserrat. We're here, Cole and I, to support you, and we're here to try and make you aware of other things which are happening right across the Commonwealth, right across other parliaments, including some European parliaments as well, and to give you the best advice and assistance we possibly can. I would just finally say that if any of you attend any of the CPA events and you're in the UK, you would be made very, very welcome if you want to come to the Isle of Man and visit us, or if you have any officers within your government who might benefit from some experience. I've been involved with projects to do with the World Bank. I've also been involved with places like St Helena, Tristan da Cunha, where we've brought nursing staff into our hospitals, we've brought police to get experience, and we brought other government officials to help them to get a better understanding of how small governments and small parliaments actually work. But I could just finish off by saying it's a great privilege for me to be here, and I know that it's going to be a very good 2 days hard work, and I hope that it'll be most successful and you'll enjoy it. Thank you very much.